It is your girl Pusher. If you're not pushing forward, you're moving backwards. Say it out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. No, really. Say that thing out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. Well, thank you to everyone who has tapped in this hour. And so let me introduce myself to some and reintroduce myself to others. I am your girl Pusher. And as I always say, we are moving forward. The only time we are going looking backwards is for a reign of reference and or if we need to remember. That's it, that's all. Did you get your copy of It Takes One to Know One Workbook and Journal and People Pusher? I'm going to assume that you did. And because of that, get another copy for someone because I know it has blessed your whole heart. And if it has, do not gatekeep it. Get it for someone or tell someone about it so that they can tap in. I want you all to just relax, sit back because I am going to slow down. I get so excited. And sometimes I get too excited where I miss the mark. And so I am going to first let you know that today is a push for me. The pusher needed to push herself. So for those of you who do not or have not been on this journey with me, I have shared that I have been going through a physical healing as well. And one of my troubles that often happens is I get to a place where I don't really feel good and I have to push myself. And so today is one of those days where it hasn't taken a toll, but I am not at my 100%. However, I am giving my best. So I ask that you all bear with me. So for you all that do, who are just tapping in, sometimes my voice changes. And this is one of those moments where my voice will shift. So if you heard me last week, you're probably like, what is going on with her? I am having a moment. And because I am an advocate of healing out loud, that is what I do. And so I am just going to ask that you all be open-minded because we will have an authentic and transparent conversation on tonight. No, you are not just stuck with me. I do have someone very, very special that I am get ready to bring up so that we can maximize every second of the minute in this hour. And because we have started on time, you know I like to end on time. If you are in the chat, I want to shout you out. I want to remind you that this is not just about me or the men and women that comes on. This is about all of us because we have made a decision to heal out loud individually but collectively. And so without further ado, I am going to ask this young lady to come back and reintroduce herself and introduce herself to the community.
Hello, community. Thank you for having me back. I am Kawana Prince. For those of you who were not with us last week, I am the CEO at Global Butterfly Effects, where we provide reading you can feel. So if you need a book, something you're looking for, want to write a book, contact us.
Yes. Contact Global Butterfly Effect community. Yes. Contact. And so I'm going to put the information up so that you can do just that. One of the things in the pusher community is that we do not talk just to be talking. We want movement, activity. We're not doing this just to be doing it. And on tonight, the reason why you all see this beautiful face next to me is because there is an unfinished conversation that is imperative that we close out. And why? It's because sometimes when we are communicating, we want people to hear what we have to say. And oftentimes we walk away with just that. And we haven't given the person the opportunity to speak their piece. And one of the reasons why we flee out of conversations, difficult conversations, is because fear. Fear speaks to us in a way in which I don't want to hear your response, because if I don't like it or if it hurts me, I don't know how I will respond. That's fear. When you are self-aware, you are at a place where you are speaking your truth and living in your truth, then you understand that two truths can exist in one conversation. When we have conversations, we should not go into, I'm not going to say should not, what I would say the healthiest thing to do when you are going into a conversation is go into the conversation one with an open mind and expecting to get something out of it. This is how we normalize having difficult conversations. So on tonight, we are having a difficult conversation. There's some things that you have to hear. If reconciliation, so keep in mind, forgiveness and reconciliation is in order. And in order for sometimes us to see that, we have to see it out loud. Sometimes, we have to, we go take classes and we do see these scenarios of people doing role plays on how to do something. But when real life come, the role play that you see go out the window. And so sometimes in my mind, in my little bubble, I need real life. When real life happens, what do I do? Because it ain't nothing play about it. When you are listening to someone on the opposite end of the conversation and they are saying things that could pierce your soul, what do you do with that? And then fear creeps in and say, no, 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 we don't want to hear that. So how does that person get to heal in their truth? At some point, we just got to be quiet. And so now this is my time to be quiet, because last week I heard something, and because I heard something, it triggered something in me. And real quickly, instead of having the conversation, I immediately made it about me. And I asked, will you forgive me? Now, I'm not saying in a moment I wasn't sincere, because I was. However, in my sincerity, I was being a bit selfish, because there was no exchange of information, even though our hearts are one and we already know. But when we are healing out loud and when we are operating in the capacity of people are watching me, there are some things we just can't leave undone, and this is one of them. And so I'm going to take this time and ask Mrs. Prince if she doesn't mind to take us back to last week. I asked the question of how were you affected by the 20 I don't know what happened, Miss. This something I'm telling you, the fact that I do not feel well and I am not at my best, and so much has been going on I'm just telling you, in this time frame, so much has been going on. So I know something great is supposed to come out of this, because I am pushing myself. And so in the chat, I need to hear from you. So we're not talking about difficult conversations, we're having a difficult conversation. And so I'm curious to hear what you in the chat want to know or have to say. And so while you are thinking about that, I am going to repeat the question that I had for Miss Prince, and I am going to ask that you answer the question. Take us back to last week, and if you so desire, um, to answer it. And as you see, I'm trying to multitask, and it
Oh,
ain't happening. So
all right, I got you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very
Okay.
well.
So the question that was asked last week, you asked me to forgive you. You asked me to forgive you for the things that I went through while you were incarcerated and the whole thing that happened. And you never let me say yes or no. Maybe I didn't want to forgive you. It took me a while. It's not even a forgiving. I was angry at you. I was disappointed in you because you knew better. You knew better about hanging around people. You knew better about everything. So I was hurt, disappointed. These are the words. I wasn't angry or mad or like you offended me in any way. I was just disappointed. And after the apology and out loud and publicly, because we've already cleared all of this up, I forgive you publicly. Um, I'm proud of you. All of the things that we went through, they make us who we are today. So all of the struggles and all the hard parts, they make us who we are now. Being able to be on a line and share our personal, intimate stuff with the world, because healing is at the end of this. And like you say, we didn't gatekeeping, we sharing it with everybody. And I'm telling you, it took God to give me strength, one, to go through it and to be present in every one of those years. It took God. Um, but yeah, we're where we are now. And he couldn't have did anything different to make it any better than it is today.
Wow. So I'm going to kind of put you on a spot. How do you accept someone's countering truth in a combo without rejecting your own? You want to take that?
I got you. Here's an example of this, that, and we're gonna use us because that's what we're doing. So once in your incarceration, you called me. You must have been dealing with therapists and all this stuff, and you dumped on me. Oh my God. It was one of those moments where I had to clutch my pearls. She did not say this to me. You told me how, people didn't do right with you, and I was included in that, and how people have favoritism and the family had their picks. And I couldn't even respond in that phone call because I was shocked to even hear those things. But she said it to the person who put the thing. This is what she felt at the time. She said what she felt, how she felt it. I didn't take it too well, but I didn't respond at all. I heard her, I listened, I felt whatever I felt. And it was maybe a couple of phone calls later when I was able to respond to that message. Um, so sometimes the hard conversations can't be had right now. And it is okay to wait. But you are waiting with the intention of we have to have this conversation, not waiting to push it under the rug and maybe it'll go away or maybe things will change. But I think even that was a scenario where like my feelings were touched with that conversation, but it was your truth. It was your truth at that time until I had to share some light in it and your truth changed. So yeah. Can I share the whole thing? Can I share that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the scenario was you called and you said, well, y'all don't love me like y'all love him, and y'all don't do this for me, and nobody's doing this for me, and y'all this, and it was bad. It was bad for me because I'm like every second I've been here. While I'm hearing this, I am hearing her truth, and in my mind, I'm already counteracting with my response, but my mouth wouldn't say anything because it wasn't time. So I heard all of her truth. I took it in. She seemed like she took a deep breath because she got it out. But then later, when I got to really dissect, you can take your time. And if you love somebody, and the conversation is worth having, you have to have it. You can't wait. So with that conversation, I had to remind her. Everybody say today, yeah, I'm outside. Yeah, I go outside. Yeah, I'm outside. Well, Carlita was an outside person, and I wasn't. I wasn't outside. I found an inside to be at. So when she came to me with, "Oh, you don't love me like this," it was, you were outside. The love was right here. The love never left. You left. The love stayed right here and you went everywhere. So to get to a situation, we had to be honest with our whole self and see the whole view of the people that we love. It wasn't just about you, it was about all of us. It was about people extending love, but you got to be there to get it. The same love that the people walked through the door and got, it was there for you too. Nobody would have turned you away. But in the situation and time that you were in your mind, you felt like, if you want to explain how you felt, because I don't know.
Well, it's no secret to those that have been with me in parts of my journey. Um, Growing up, for me, and this is just me growing up, I've the one person that has been constant and consistent, and I'm saying when bad things happen to me, the one person that with some bad things that happened to me that you know about, you were the one that really never questioned me about anything, but you always, in some kind of way, made me feel protected, made me feel like it wasn't my fault, um, gave me that security, I guess, as a young girl that I didn't know that I needed, but I got it. But I guess just growing up, and like you said, because I wanted to be outside, somewhere, somehow, being out, something happened to make me feel like where I belonged. I felt like I got more attention. And sometimes I got attention that I didn't want. But nonetheless, I got attention. People knew my name. People were calling me. People were recognizing me. And it wasn't for good stuff, but nonetheless, they were calling my name. And so I was drawn to that. And then I created an image that I knew was false at a young age. That's the thing. I always knew that I was special. I always knew that I was different. But knowing that you're different and knowing that you're special and don't know what to do with it, it could drive you. Well, let me speak for myself. It drove me in a different direction. I didn't understand it. I could see things, I could hear things. Who do you talk to though? Because the people around you, especially when you are a kid, as long as you saying praise the Lord and hallelujah, you are good. And you say your grace and you say your prayers, you better not answer that phone and not say praise the Lord.
I'm telling you now.
You are in good standing. But no one literally ever told me when I was young that I was special. But the one person that made me feel like I was special was you. And the person that always told me I was special was my twin. But for whatever reason, I didn't know what to do with that because I had no education. I had no drive. What I learned to do with it was toxic because I still was who I was. I just did the opposite of but I still people. I still was around people. I still found a way to lead people.
Because your gifts are in you, they're born in you, they're nurtured or damaged by you and what we do. And before we get a connection, a personal connection with God on our own, we just kind of out there, and we just kind of out there with all of this stuff. And we, like you say, it's something, but I don't understand what this is. And then once we do get the connection with our creator, and he kind of guides us and leads us to what we're doing. So you basically are the same exact person, The same person. It just is just packaged different, and it sits in different arenas. Because the people have always been, even if you push them to something bad, you are always pushing people. But I always want to say this to the people who are outside these days, because I don't know outside too well nowadays, you know. But if you outside, the love is in the house. Go home. Go in the house to receive those hugs that you think nobody want to give you. They waiting for you. On the other side of the door, they waiting for you to come from outside. Because the love is there. You don't know how many prayers been prayed for you when you weren't around. Because you weren't around, you probably got more than anybody else. So the people that's outside and they thinking outside is that, is not. You always gonna have to come in and sit down at some point. So now
And
if you watching or you know somebody that's outside, tell them come on in and give them a hug. Hug them and let them know, because she told me she didn't feel worthy or wanted. That's what I heard, my reflective listening. And what was happening on the other side of the door to make that not happen. So on the other side of the door, we got to get better. We got to get better at home, in the core of us and our foundation, and make sure that none of us leave home to go outside for any reason without knowing that we have that security and that love and that protection.
uh, and so you're that is on point. But so I have to go back again. Which what I realized today is, although you were a representation of a nurturer for me growing up, and someone who, when I was hurt, who consoled me when I got in trouble, who didn't chastise me, but let me know, held me accountable. The thing with me is, you was the reality is you're not my mother. And as much as growing up, I depended on your love. Growing up, people wanted to make their parents proud and make their parents happy. When I started, getting myself together and doing things, in my heart, and I'm just being honest, I wanted to make you happy. I wanted to make you proud, because I felt like um you deserved it. You deserved for your heart to smile. And for a long time, I didn't sit with the reality of I went astray, because the one person that I really wanted more than anything in the world, someone that I live with, that I came out of, the time that the dudes broke into the house to do whatever they did, it wasn't my mother who hugged me. It wasn't my mother who told me it was going to be okay. It was my sister. And although in that moment it did what it needed to do, I got to be honest. That little girl wanted her mother. And I'm not blaming my mother, because as a woman now, I take full responsibility.
So let me do this. Even in scenarios like that, our mother was working. She had to work so that we didn't know we was poor. That we thought we had something. We had a house and we had food. And even being young, I had to stay home and watch all. I would kind of feel some kind of way. But as an adult, I get it. I get
Right,
it. We don't make what a child would think is the right decisions at this time. But when
right,
that child grow up, that child should understand you got to do what you have to do while you're doing it. And we had a young mother. She was young and working her butt off so that
right,
we could have some things that some people didn't have.
right,
And so we had the family. I was next. I was the eldest, and I did what the eldest do, because she was working and I was there. I did what I was supposed to do. And in families that are structured right, that's usually how it works, because the parents work. They are responsible for certain things, and then certain things might be handed down to the next in line. But all of us have to do our part to make a family unit work.
Right. But growing up as children, you don't see that. You don't understand that. You don't
Yeah,
know that.
you
You
don't you
gotta
don't
go
you don't
through.
care as
You
a
don't
kid.
care, right? You don't care as long as it's getting done. As long as it's getting done, you good.
Right,
You ain't thinking about that. That's
right,
why I say these kind of conversations as you get older and you begin to kind of understand, you have to be able to first take accountability.
right.
You got to be able to get to a place before you can even have a difficult conversation. Let me slow down and read this. That's good. When I finally started working hard, for me, life became easier. I want to make people I love proud and make them love me even more. Now I love me, and they can accept me or not. That's
Okay,
powerful.
there it is.
And that's true because most people, like in my, like for me, most people they only know how I left. They don't know who I am now.
You came back. Okay, so here's the scenario, and I just was telling somebody this by being on the show last week. I said, Lord, I just came out the cave, and then let me explain what that is. So once upon a time when all these things were first happening, and that's when those years are the years where I was giving my life to Christ, where I was changing and I was getting to figure out who I am. And I did a lot of things in the church, and I preached all over the place, and I spoke at different things. And to hear the people say, good job, you did this, you blessed me and all that, and you trying to not get, this is all God, this ain't me, this ain't none of me, and trying to maintain that it's not mine, that this is God's. So I did that for a long time and had that battle. Some people get the big head and think it's them. Well, one season I felt like I was getting something. This is the no. So I backed away, and then I ended up in the cave. And in the cave experience, it was just me and God. No church, no people, nobody interfering. He had to teach me. He had to feed me. He did everything. And then I liked being in the cave. I liked it. He told me who I was. He showed me without the help of other people telling me what they see and what they think and what they feel. It was just me and him. And so coming out meaning coming to show people what me and God been working on in this cave. That's how it feels. You are invincible when you figure out who you are. There is no stopping you. It's like you get the Midas touch. Everything you touch turn to gold when you know who you are. But Miss Fitzgerald, a part of that conversation that we can cut off is they can take it or leave it. That's not love. That's if you come in with that, you bring in a bag with you. So I'm out of the cave. This is me. I know me now, and that's it. That is it. And it should be no buts. And you gotta, or you get a choice. You'll know who, if they don't accept it, they either gonna start being a hater or a participator. But you'll see. And you'll get to move without even saying those parts. Those little things on the side, those little negative hits that we bring into our conversations, we bring them in. We start with them. We can leave those off. You are amazing. You know who you are. Walk in that. Period. With a T, like my husband say. Period.
Period.
Yeah, and it ain't even. We're not even thinking about what people thinking about. That's the issue. That was the issue in our conversation because you said when people call my name out there, people did. Let me say this. This is a fun fact for the pusher community. When we are all at home in the gathering, nobody listens to Carlita. When everybody is in a group, she'll start talking, and somebody will always cut her off. That is an on running joke. But the thing that I wanted to say was when we are listening for our name and looking for us, don't even look. Just be. Just be. It don't matter who come, who call, who don't, who show up, who do it for you. Just be. It's an amazing life. It's a free life. This we talk about freedom. It's freedom when you just and it ain't like it's like I don't care. I don't because it's irrelevant. The things that people think. Uh my pastor used to say, don't let people rent that space in your head. And I used to do it all the time. They used to have condos in my head all day long. I'm thinking about what they thinking about and who they saying, whatever. When you cut that out of your life, you are the freest person in the world. And the times you need to communicate with people and see what they had these difficult conversations, do them with intent and on purpose. Stop trying to make me talk the whole time.
Now y'all know why she is the pusher's pusher. The cat is out the bed. So
Okay, I wanted to talk to the chat. They had stuff to say that we couldn't see last week.
I do you want me to go back to the chat from last week?
Or no, whoever's here now, however you want to do it. This is your show. I'm just a guest.
BR, how do you accept someone's countering truth in a combo without rejecting your own?
Somebody's countering truth. Well, we can both have our truths. You're on one side of the coin, I'm on one. That both sides are absolutely there. We both see both sides, but we still have two sides. We same coin. If we stay that love piece, if we keep the love part in the center of everything, there is nothing that we can't get through. No hard conversation we can't have if we know love. Here's an example. Me and my husband, we would have argument, knock down, drag out. Oh my God, he see his way, I see my way, and nobody's gonna tell us otherwise. Maybe 15 minutes later, you hungry? Yeah. You want what you want to eat? Because we understand I'm gonna love you after this conversation. I'm gonna love you whether we come to a resolve today. I'm gonna love you while it hurt what you said. I'm gonna love you while I'm healing. But we know and we guaranteed at the end of the day that we're gonna love each other. And that right there has a big part to do about having these hard conversations. Sometimes we scared to have a conversation with somebody because they don't love us like we think they do.
Right.
And we don't, and sometimes we think we might have to hear that. And that hurts.
So can we go back a little bit so that maybe we are moving a little too um fast
Okay.
because we are having a difficult conversation. This is not made up. This is
Real life.
real life. This is real life. So proud to have you two powerful ladies to look up to. I like that. Hater participating.
Yeah.
I
Hi, Mr.
love
Lisa.
have Bible study, but I'll be watching the rest. Love you, Tyra. This conversation has been valuable to me. It encourages me to go tell my daughter I love her, though I had to correct her in her actions. I love her. Yes, Brandy. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So that's why I want to slow down a minute and go back because we are having a difficult conversation. It's difficult for me to hear her truth, even though I know some of what she has shared with me, throughout my incarceration and since I've been free. We do have conversations, but they haven't been this
Girl.
um so it's important for you to understand that the exchange that we are having is authentic and it is real.
Girl.
um so let's go back. I did ask you, would you forgive me, because I heard something from you how you were affected. I heard the behavior that came with how you were affected for the first time, and because how it made me feel, I retreated to, oh no, I gotta immediately fix this and make it right. I made it about me in that moment. And so it's important to me and those that are watching that they see a natural exchange. I could have called her, I could have told her, over the phone, but I chose not to because it didn't happen over the phone.
Right.
Um, And because it didn't happen over the phone, that's why we're doing it now. So it's important to stop here. I repeated it several times. So this now is we want to hear from you as it relates to, do you forgive me?
Yes, I absolutely forgive you. I forgave you. Um, it wasn't an offense towards me at all. So I didn't kind of take it personal like that. Like I'm telling you, disappointment. I forgive you since that's being asked, and I'm saying it's easy to do because you are becoming everything that I saw you were that made me upset or disappointed. You have become that. So that's like an apology with life, like with my whole life. I want to show you that I was worth all of that pain. That see, I can be everything that I'm supposed to, everything that I've been called to be, and being able to experience this part makes all that other stuff so worth it. While I was going through it, nope. Would I want to do it again? I wouldn't want to, but that's the way that God chose to do it. So if I had to do it again to get this result that we doing today, I would do it all over again. I would start right now.
Bless your whole heart.
Mm-hmm. Good thing, Lord, we ain't got to do that all over again,
I ain't
but you
going
get the
back.
gist, because I
I
ain't
ain't
going back either. You get the gist of the thing. I'm going to tell you what,
going
in the honest conversation, I have been incarcerated in some form every day. Every day that you guys have been in prison. The best part about it, I keep saying love. People say, "Oh, love, it ain't all that." It is. It is the thing that can heal anything. I'm gonna tell you, you separated from me for 22 years, and you have not missed a beat. That's love. We have been together through everything. Just because your location was different didn't mean that how we share with each other had to change. And I think that being involved made it so much easier. It made it so much easier. So if somebody has somebody that's incarcerated and you're not involved with, if you love them, just show up sometimes. Just answer the call sometimes. Send a letter. People don't even do that no more. Write a letter. That will blow that person's mind. Wow. Because it's hard on both sides. It's hard on both sides of the wall.
It definitely is. And I've learned, I'm fortunate because I've learned um in the middle of my incarceration that it wasn't just me in prison. And I believe that last difficult conversation we had, it was in 2018 and they didn't give me parole.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I just let it rip. And then when you,
Oh, I didn't even do your real response. My first response.
yeah.
My first. Oh my God. Okay, so you took me way back to that conversation because the
Yeah,
first
because
upset because you didn't get the parole, first of all, and then you gave it all to me. Now my first thing that I took in was all that feelings that I was feeling. How could she say that? How could she do this? But the thing that I had to say and what I did was, girl, we've been praying. You've been doing all this fasting and studying and asking God, and He's been telling us. And now that it's time to get in the game and step on your faith, you flaking out. Oh, that's what she got. But it was much worse than that. It was much worse than that.
I was
If
about
you
to
don't
say,
get to be in the getting ready for battle, and it's time to put your uniform on and stand and say the Lord and His might has done it, and then you under a rock somewhere. I was like, girl, you better get up and look at you pushing people now in the
so
proper
can,
direction.
can you share how to get the lines of communication open when the other person refuses to have a difficult conversation? Now, understand this. I'm going first. And then
Go
you go.
first.
Understand this. It takes two to have a difficult conversation. And understand, just because me and Mrs. Prince is having a difficult conversation does not mean I'm going to go down the line and have difficult conversations with certain people. You have to be healed. You have to come to a place where you are self-aware, where you have some emotional intelligence, where you are at a place where you are accountable for what you think, feel, and or believe. It is not the other person. And remember, Mrs. Prince said, when you go into a conversation, you have to go into the conversation with love and in love. And in order to do that, that other person is going to meet you halfway, because that other person is coming the same way. Oftentimes we want to have, that's why they have commercialized and they created fear. And now we are calling normal conversations that we should be having at the kitchen table difficult to have in our community.
And this is what we used to do. We used to do it at the table. You talked, you found out what was happening. Everybody got to say, well, why he did that yesterday. Why? When we stop those things, it's like, let me tell you this. It's like the enemy is silencing us. We're texting it. You can't feel my emotion in the text. You can't feel the energy that I'm giving you. What you're gonna feel in the text is the energy that you have. So if
Right.
you in a bad mood, you read my message and I'm giving it to you good because your energy is down. But when we used to talk face to face and you could see me, we hug before the conversation, we hug after the conversation. I'm gonna see you the next time. Even if we argued and it got hot, we were there with that energy towards each other. There's no power in us not speaking it out loud. And all this texting is silent. Even if you make it all caps or put an exclamation mark on it, we got to start proclaiming things out of our mouth again, speaking things to the people that we love out of our mouth, in from a place of love and reconciliation, especially because that was the topic before, and you said is reconciliation and forgiveness the same thing? They one leads to the other. One will lead you to the other, but they're two different seasons.
Right. Right. And so I definitely appreciate the fact that you and I can have challenging conversations that um, doesn't always make you feel good.
Yeah,
But when you come out of it, you feel
feel
so
good.
much peace and you feel good when
Cause
you are coming out of it.
that's how God do us. We take on our characteristics of our daddy. When I am not the best, which is a lot, when God deals with me, I know that I've been dealt with, but I feel good. If that makes any sense. That's the love. That's what we miss. We sting people with our conversation. I'm a jab right here. I'm gonna give it right here. I meant to say this. I've been holding this in for this is the perfect opportunity. But ain't no love in that. Love bears all things, is patient, is kind, is not selfish, is not puffed up. But in our words and our conversations, we bring all of that. And none of that is love. And that's why things don't get resolved. Either we ignore it or we just blah all over it. We don't ever take a deep breath and do this, what we have. And that's why we get mediators. We got all these life coaches now so you can have a hard conversation with somebody else besides the person that you need to be talking to. Words they hurt if you apply them wrong, but they can be healing if you apply them right, if you had the right listening. I feel
Right.
you. I understand your heart. You were hurt. You were lost at the time. And I'm sorry that I never opened the door and came out there and yelled your name and said, hey, or chased you down. Come and get this hug. I'm sorry if I didn't do it that way. But these are the ways that it happened. And I'm glad that we have a chance to discuss it. So that those that come, I have grandbabies that when they come, they will know I don't have to hold this. Because holding all of those conversations with all of these people will jam you up. Let that mess out. Have that difficult conversation. Who cares? Go for it. We do it when we mad. We go rah and we just let it fly. Well, how come you can't have some sense about yourself and come on purpose to have that same talk? The person who you think don't want to have a hard discussion might just change their mind if we change the attitude we come to them with it.
Yeah.
They might have been waiting to have the hard conversation, but we come already without face all messed up, our high pitched voice already like we mad before we even get talking. And then the other person gets discouraged from having that conversation with us. So it's all in your posture and your position in your conversations.
This is it. Come on. The application of words, the release of words,
I'm
words.
telling you now. That's where the power at, and what we speak out of our mouth. We always say the negative stuff so quick. We need to start speaking the life things.
Yeah, and one of the things and about this is why I'm so like get it takes one to know one workbook and journal. Like we need a if you need a start, I'm telling you, it's a great start. Because it's between
Yes.
well, I ain't in your business, you'll be a little bit in my business because I expose my business to help you deal with the things that that blame, shame, and guilt attends to control and suffocate those things that the world calls skeletons in your closet. Those things,
We still
those
got that? People
some
still
people
got
do.
skeletons?
But some people do, believe it or not. Well, now they might have upgraded. They might got mummies.
I don't know if it is age or just life experience. At some point in the game, somebody said it, I am who I am. You realize who you are in the whole scheme of this whole thing. And when you realize that, there's nothing you can't. I mean, okay, so people are trying to be everybody else. I want to be like Mike. I want to be like Big Meech, Larry Hoover. I want to be all these people. But when you find out who you are, you might just like yourself and want to be like you. And when you find yourself at peace with yourself, there's nothing difficult outsourced from inside of you. Nothing. But you have to get to that point where you are okay with yourself. And that takes some work and some experience and some pain and some hurt and some lessons. But we can get there if we're looking for it.
No doubt, because we're there.
Amen. And
we're
guess what?
we're there, no
If I
doubt,
can do it, anybody
no
can.
doubt.
Because
Because
I
we're
mess it up
definitely
10
there.
times before I get it right. And God's grace and his mercy keeps covering me and giving me an opportunity to learn some more and keep going.
Right. Uh, today was one of them days that made me realize because I don't feel good and I'm not my 100% best. And when I get like that, I want to shrink back and I want to be to myself. Because I'm learning that I'm not, I had to find a new normal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's frustrating sometimes in finding a new normal when you're trying to find a new normal, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
With adjusting, coming home from prison and then straight coming out grinding,
Right.
focused, locked in, and you tend to forget that this is new to you. You're making it. I know it look easy, but you got to slow down so that you won't miss the mark. Because sometimes we can just go, and we can miss opportunities to have like this.
Right.
And I
Oh,
guess this
right.
is God's way of allowing me to do what I need to do, that my heart longs to do, but for whatever reason, I gotta do it out loud.
You can do it out loud, girl.
It
So
just is what it
I
is.
have a we have 10 more minutes maybe. I have a question about last week. We had a difficult topic and you
Okay.
kind of brushed right past it, like snuck it in, talked about it and left. I like to talk about it. It's a difficult conversation, and I think that the listeners, I mean, you can't get more difficult what I'm about to say. So last time you said last week, well, when I told you about told her about my sexuality, she said blah blah blah. Pause. Let's park there. You ran through that thing like you didn't even say it. I had to hear it again to say, wait a minute. And she didn't let me say a word. Let's talk about, is that a difficult conversation for you?
Yes.
Okay. And it
It
is a difficult conversation for me as well because people do ask. You never to yourself, you are not an island. You are always connected to somebody. And people do ask. So at one time I asked, no, I didn't even ask. Somebody said something and you had a response about your sexuality. And I don't know if you remember it or whatever, but I tell us. Like you told me and you thought I would be whatever and I wasn't, but some people are. Some people have things as your sister. I want to know what is that like? How do
um
you how do you maneuver with all the extras?
um it's not as intense as it was before, because I'm healing in that area of being. I went through so much in the church as it relates to it. Now, as a little girl, you think that that's what kids are supposed to be doing, hopping on dolls, playing teacups with the girls, and you humping with the girls and all of that. You don't think nothing is wrong with you. But then when you become a teenager and you don't see people doing it as often, but you find yourself indulging, you begin to think that something is wrong with you, and you don't know how to ask questions because we didn't talk about these things growing up. It wasn't a subject, and I wasn't exposed to it. So I really didn't know how or why. So I hid it for a long time. And I hid it with my personality. And I manipulated situations so that I can hide it. And then when I got incarceration, it wasn't no hiding because it was like
Mhm.
everybody is just looking around or whatever. But even in that, in my movement, when it came to that, I was strategic because I always lived my life wanting people to accept me. And it just so happened that I only gravitated towards the kind of people that accepted me if I became what they wanted me to be. I gravitated towards that. And so going to church, and a lot of people don't really listen to me when I tell them I grew up in church. People don't accept that, and they don't. And I'm like,
We did. Praise the Lord when you answer the phone. I used to
yeah.
take the Jesus mobile to the club.
People didn't. So I stopped trying to convince them that I grew up in church and let them shape and mold me and cultivate me and teach me and do all these things. But then it came a time where they literally said, well, you can't do this. And so because of that, I hid it for a long time. But I wasn't indulging in relationships, but in my deep down, I knew what however you want to call it, I knew what I wanted. I knew where I wanted companionship from. I knew that. And so I would go long times and I would be focused. And one time, like for a couple years, I was grinding. I was going to church. I was preaching. I was teaching. I was doing all of that. And I was doing it the way they cultivated me to do it. But then it came a time where something happened. I was hurt and nobody would attend to that hurt. And I retreated back to what I knew. And then I found myself in toxic relationships while in prison. And I did not know how to escape it because they weren't people that I wanted to be with, but they were a representation of companionship that I knew that I wanted. It may not been I wanted it, and you were closest to me, so I'm gonna manipulate this situation for what I wanted to be to get what I wanted because I was hurting, and that's how I dealt with my hurt. That was my drug. And then it's like once I began to learn more about me, I'm questioning, is this for me or not? And when I completely stopped and gave it up, it wasn't for me. It was to please other people. Because when I felt myself going back to messing with women, I was kicked out. I was talked about. I was like, whatever you dethroned. I was preached about. I was talked about by leaders. People mishandled my heart, whether I was doing good or bad. So why not just do the bad because I feel protected over here? Because even when I do good, it's not enough. And so it wasn't that I ever been ashamed of my sexuality. I think my sexuality, I weaponized it. I used it against my own self. But now today it's hurtful that I do have people that I really love that won't accept that part that comes with me. And they don't even allow themselves to see God in me because that is a part of me. And I'm not saying today or tomorrow I can wake up and if God tells me today or tomorrow, girl, go. Guess what's going to happen? I am going. I am not closed off. I have these kind of difficult conversations with my companion. Most people have an idea when they see two women together, they just have an idea of what they think, but they really don't know unless they sit down and have a conversation with me. But today, as the woman that I am, I love who I love respectfully. And I'm not intentionally disrespecting anyone. But if I am going to heal out loud, whatever it is that I am doing, consciously doing, it has to be out loud. I cannot hide and I cannot deny my life and the choices that I'm making if I am encouraging people to heal out loud. And so today, that part of me is still healing. It is still healing. It's still hurt in there that I'm still dealing with because these were some special people in my life. Even family, learning that some people don't accept it, don't want to have a conversation with me, don't want me to come around. It's okay because that and it's no love lost, but it hurts because you're missing out. You're focused on the wrong thing. And I can say that because I was focused on the wrong thing. I thought I had to be a certain type of way. I thought I had to do it a certain type of way for God to come see about me. But when I learned that he knows all and he see all and I can't hide anyway, what is the point? And so I dare not live in secret. And so that is why I celebrate. I don't flaunt my relationship, but I celebrate not just the relationship, but the person. Why? Because she's growing and she's learning. We're focused on the wrong thing. On the wrong thing. And now that I'm focused and I got it gathered, it is nothing that no one can say to me or tell me for me not to know that God loves me in spite of me. And that's what enables me to walk with my head held high. It's not being arrogant. I'm just for sure and for certain that in spite of me, grace, every day that I wake up, grace and mercy follows me. That's why it was important for me to tell you and not just to get, I wasn't seeking validation, but I was seeking your respect. And I was seeking, will you still love me and in spite of me? That's for everybody that I've sat down and had a conversation with that was like, girl, so, okay, that's the bombshell.
But can I tell you something? We got like 1 more minute to, let me tell you this. Before, if you would have told me things like this 10, 15 years ago, I was a whole different person. I was that program one. Oh, no. Oh, girl, you can't. No, I was that person. It's wrong. No. But after I lived a little, like I tell you, experience, I had the opportunity to move to Atlanta. Oh my goodness. They say that's the mecca of people like this. And I met the most amazing people that I would have never even attempted to get to know because it was like a stigma, because that's what church do. No, we don't know. God had to tell it to me like this. If you take somebody drinking, you take two people, you let one drink a glass of wine. God, is this sin? God might say, no, this is not sin to you. Whatever. You give another person the same glass of wine, God, is this sin? And God might say, yes, this is sin. Why is it sin for this person, not this person? It's sin for this person because this person is addicted to it. This person has taken me from being first and putting this thing from being first. That is sin. So no matter what we do, a drink, a person, anything, we all had to come to a place where there's some healing. And then you said it before, God knew, he saw me, he see me, where we don't let stigmatisms keep us from opening up our hearts and loving people, because God reign on the just as well as the unjust. And just because I got a husband don't mean that I'm all that just. So I think we need to look at people and not look at situations or relationships. And before, I can honestly say I'm healing out loud too. It was taboo for me. Oh no. Oh, let me clutch my pearl. No, you did not tell me that. But by the time you came around and told me that, and I heard a whole bunch of other stuff, it was like, okay, all right, God. Whatever you gonna do with this, do it. And let's just keep the love rolling.
Yeah, so that is definitely that was difficult.
See? Yay, we got the pusher to say difficult conversation. Because yeah, you did wish by that. Somebody needed
Yeah,
to hear.
I definitely did, not on purpose though. I
Mhm.
definitely didn't do it broadcast it on, but that's why sometimes it's important to slow down and go back and pay attention.
We 1 minute over.
Okay. So yes, this was important. This is season 2, y'all. Season 2.
Yay!
Season
You
2,
did that. Congratulations
episode
on the first season.
1.
You did
Episode
that.
1, season 2,
So I'm
episode
first.
1.
So one. So before
We
we go, can I please?
yeah, I'll read this last. Okay, I'll read this last quote. We are all in different stages in our walks with God. We all have different convictions. You're right, Carlita. We're focusing on the wrong things. Just focus on your personal walk.
Amen.
Indeed, 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 indeed. You definitely have to shout out to Elder Denise. I did not know she was in the building, but this is
Bye.
another young woman who has taught me unconditional love indeed. So as we close out, what would you like to say?
Well, I would like to say, last week we talked about the butterfly effect, and we talked about how it's just love. It's just applying love. And after the show, we realized that none of your village was on the show. You were looking for them, and nobody was there. But what the amazing thing was, while we were talking about what the butterfly effect was, they were doing it. They were doing it. Somebody in my village has a pain, and all of the good blood rushes to the pain so the healing can begin. So while we were talking about they were in action, I just thank God for the village that you do have. And I thank him for the village that I do have. And if everybody who comes on can see, when villages come together, we make community. And this and us talking and me being a part of this is just not because this is my sister. It's because I believe in what she's doing. And the people that come on the show, you aren't just a show member, you are a part of the community. So I try to support. I can't show up at everything, I can't buy everything, but I try to support when I can. You had a young lady on, she needed cleaning service, we needed cleaning. Why not use somebody from the show? I saw a book, somebody had a book. It wasn't through my company, but it's a book, and we're going to support her. So also, and the people in my community, I will ask that we would support them as well. I have 2 new books coming out. Carlita's book, I'm waiting for a date for her to come out with hers, but you can go on her website, pusherlife.org, and you can put yourself on a waiting list, and she'll tell you when the time is coming. You'll know first. But I have the next 2 things that are being published by Global Butterfly Effects. One is how to properly prepare for parole. If you have a person that is incarcerated, you have never done this process before, it is something else when you don't know what you're doing. pick up the book. He walks you step by step through the process. He shows you examples and everything. This is Dr. Jason Walls, how to properly prepare for parole. And I also have Meditation for Mental Health. This is Shannon Deanne, and this is an amazing book. This is probably going to come out next month. If you don't know how to meditate, this is a fun, exciting book. You need to get it and learn how to get your zen. Okay, thank you.
And so you're very welcome. Yes, get those books. And where can they go to get those books?
You can get any books that I publish on Amazon.com, or you can go to gbecommunity.com and you can go to our community authors and you can pick a book. If you like reading and you're looking for a specific book, you can call us or send us a message through the prompt and we will help you out. We'll help you find a book, locate one. We'll tell you what's the good reads that's going on nowadays. Check us out.
Okay, gbecommunity.com. That is how you can purchase those books. I definitely will tap in and get both books. We definitely can use them over there in Pivot. So as always, we started on time, so we would like to end as closely as on time as possible. As always, you in the chat, I appreciate you for showing up. As always, in participating, do not forget to go over to PUS'HER where you can tap the chat button and ask any questions. Anything, you can go over there and put it in, and we will shout you out and read your questions, comments, whatever you put in. It is more to come in a PUS'HER community. So I thank you. Until next week, Wednesday at 6:30 p.m.
Bye.
It is your girl Pusher. If you're not pushing forward, you're moving backwards. Say it out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. No, really say that thing out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. Have you gotten your copy of It Takes One to Know One workbook and journal and people pusher? No, then travel over to pusherlife.org, go to the author's page, and you will find It Takes One to Know One and People Pusher. Come tap in. It is your girl Pusher. If you're not pushing forward, you're moving backwards. Say it out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. No, really say that thing out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. Have you gotten your copy of It Takes One to Know One workbook and journal and people pusher? No, then travel over to pusherlife.org, go to the author's page, and you will find It Takes One to Know One and People Pusher. Come tap in.